Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are very pleased to have you with us today on Forum Energii webinar about energy transition in Poland. My name is Aleksandra Dziadykiewicz, and I am head of communication in Forum Energii. This is a think tank, European think tank, based in Poland, based in Warsaw, but we are dedicated to support energy transition in Poland and in Europe as well. And this is the great pleasure and honor to host you today on our meeting, on our webinar. We will talk about the energy transition in Poland, and there is really a lot going on that energy transition. Although there is that kind of impression that a lot of changes are not necessarily the result of the planned and prepared processes, but are happening from the bottom up. Is that true? We will learn that today. Just let me mention that our annual report, the Energy Transition in Poland, this is the 7th edition, can be found on our website. And of course, I will share the link in a minute. So just feel free to explore our website. And also, of course, if you wish, you can add your email to our newsletter. The main findings of the report will be presented by Forum Energii CEO, Joanna Pandera, and senior analyst, Marcin Dusiło, who is the author of the study. Just before we start the presentation, just let me mention that if you want to ask the question, there is that option. You can use that Q&A icon. This is in the button from the top menu. So if you want to ask some question, just feel free to use that option, use that icon, and ask the question to us about the energy transition. So as I said, this is the great pleasure to have you today with us. And now I give the floor to Joanna Pandera.
Thank you very much, Aleksandra, and I'm very pleased to be with you and to invite you to the trip through numbers and charts about Polish energy sector. What has changed last year? This is, as Aleksandra mentioned, one of our favorite reports, prepared, by the way, with Marcin Dusiło, who will be also presenting, because it's based only on official data and numbers. This is basically what the situation is. And without further delay, I would like to say a couple of words about Forum Energii, who we are, so you know also what is our background, intention, why we act. So we have more than 10 years of experience in support of energy transition in Poland. Until now, we developed about 200 technical and economic analyses on how problems which appear related with energy transition may be solved. Many of them were recommendations became part of energy regulation in Poland. So we are proud about this. We are the team of now actually more than 20 experts with different backgrounds, from engineering to the renewables, economy, international affairs, and more environment topics, communication, and so on. So we are very proud of having diverse team of experts, and we worked in the past in government, business sector, energy sector. We act on non-commercial basis, so it's not that you can buy our services, unfortunately, but we are all very open for the discussion and for exchange of views. So this is why we are very pleased to be today with you here, and this is about us. And now where we are in Poland with energy sector, it's very interesting. It's actually last year, it was a historic moment in our electricity mix. Coal share dropped to the 60%, where actually renewables, renewable energy, but also gas, filled the gap of less and less dominant energy coal sector in Poland. And this is actually really historic moment. When I started to work on energy transition, we had about 90% of coal in electricity mix. Now it is dropping rapidly to 60%. And I will tell a bit more about renewables, but you could see that actually the average share of renewables last year was also record high. It was 27%. We know that this year, once you take a look on the months, and these are colors because actually intensivity of renewables share is presented by the green color. So you can see that the renewables share is fast growing. Of course, it's not only the trend that renewables capacities are added to the system, but also overall electricity demand is a bit slowing down. So this is a mixture why we see that renewables are becoming more and more dominant. If you take a look on basically generation, and this is one of my favorite slides because it shows the trend. We compare here 2023 with 2022. So you can see huge drop in electricity generation from coal, both hard coal and lignite. It was about 20% year to year. Once you can see that the share of natural gas, this is this yellow color, but also onshore wind and photovoltaics has grown. So this is year-to-year trend. It's really hard to predict what will happen next. I mean, what the statistic for this year will be, but we rather expect that the trend will continue and the share of coal will decline very rapidly. So the challenge of flexibility of the power system, on how to manage also renewables curtailment, which is now very dominant in the Polish debate, that everybody speak the share or the amount of electricity curtailed when there is oversupply of renewables and also our inflexible conventional generation. So this is very now present in the Polish discussion what to do. So we will stop waste energy, because now it's about wasting energy when, in example, onshore wind but also photovoltaics is just switched off and cannot produce electricity, cheap electricity. So it's one of the now main discussions which we have in Poland. But of course, the pressure on coal-fired power plants to operate differently is only growing. So on one hand, there is still capacity market, which supports coal-fired power plants, but it will be probably phased out within 4 years time. And now the challenge of the coal-fired capacity is that basically it operates similarly to the wind farm. So in the past, there were like 8,000 hours, so where coal-fired power plants were used, 7,000 hours a year. Now it's about 4,000 hours a year, which is quite similar to wind farms. Of course, wind farms operate differently, so they do not. You cannot call them to operate. So they are variable. Also, photovoltaics is variable. So we still need conventional power plants, but they will need to operate quite differently. And also the challenge of on how they can make the profits, where also electricity prices are rather flat, has become really big challenge. And this year, Poland will also review capacity market mechanism. And by the way, Forum Energii is also working on that topic, because we think it's quite a key mixture of capacity market, but also flexibility markets, which we still miss in Poland. So flexibility is still not enough awarded in the Polish energy system. If you take a look on what happened on the side of capacity, which was installed last year, so it's also comparison 2022 versus 2023. So I presented like 2 slides ago electricity generation, and here you can see capacity addiction. So what was actually put into the system or actually put out of the system, and you could see that there were no major changes apart from big increase in capacities on the in the photovoltaics and onshore wind. So only new capacities which are entering the system is basically our renewables. Old coal-fired capacity were also not phased out. So the discussion which will dominate probably for the next 1-2 years Polish debate is basically how to incentivize new capacities which will effectively replace coal generation, which we know is about to come to an end. Also because of age, because coal-fired power plants, many coal-fired power plants in Poland are now about 50 years old. So they reach end of their life. So this is the fundamental reason they operate. They are very expensive. CO2 costs are making them also on top of coal price, quite expensive. So how to fill investment gap and which capacities should enter the system will certainly be the key driver of the Polish discussion. And of course, the very relevant element of the discussion is, as you know, in European Union, we operate, energy system operate in the interconnected electricity market. So for years, Poland, like many years ago, Poland was an exporter of electricity. But since 2016, also because the wholesale electricity prices are rather expensive compared to the surrounding markets, Poland became more and more dependent on electricity imports. And the trend, like you could see 2018 on the slide, 2019 was extremely visible. Then energy crisis came in 2022, where the situation changed within short period of time dramatically because in many markets electricity became very expensive because of the gas fire generation and gas prices which increased by 400%, and it contributed to tremendous increase in wholesale electricity prices. So at that time Polish electricity prices in the wholesale markets were rather lower. Because what sets the price in the energy system, merit order in Poland, is basically coal generation. And Poland supplies coal-fired power plants mainly with own production of coal. And the prices are basically of coal are disattached from international market. We will say a couple of words about this very soon. And actually, one slide which only presents the situation. Poland on this slide is this red line, this dominant red line. So these are wholesale energy prices, electricity market. What also makes a huge pressure on decision makers in Poland to act is really high wholesale prices, which are making huge pressure on the industry. Industry is a very big sector in Poland. It contributes 22% of our GDP. So we are industrialized country, and the discussion about the future of industry in Poland, where one of the elements is high electricity price, but also carbon footprint of our electricity mix, because we are one of the most emission-intensive electricity mixes in the world, is driving the discussion, is pushing for change, even more than climate topics. And one of the last slides, which I will show before handing over to Marcin Dusiło, is hard coal consumption, which fell year to year by 23%. So we can see that the driver of Polish energy system was always that we need to base on our domestic source coal, and indeed for many years it was valid that that the coal was our own domestic source of energy, but there is constant decline, and you could see that the red line is consumption of coal, and the blue lines is basically this blue space is mining, is production of coal, and this is steadily declining. So it's just the trend. We can only expect that this will go down year to year because of workforce costs, because of the geology, because of other reasons which are making mining sector not beneficial. And maybe because I think I said it wrong, it's not 23% fall year to year, but within the last 10 years. And the last slide of mine is fossil fuel imports. I think that after Russian invasion in Ukraine and everything what happens around energy transition in Europe basically is about changing the main paradigm why we need to do energy transition. It's not only climate. Another reason is that we in Europe are missing fossil fuels, on fossil fuels, and this is the reason why we need to downscale the level of imports. Only last year, Poland paid 140 billion of zloty for the electricity imports, for the energy fossil fuel imports to Poland, and this is really a big element of the discussion, also because the market are very global. We don't have full control over the fossil fuel prices. And we phased out almost completely Russian fossil fuel supply, but now the country who replaced Russia is Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia, in terms of, let's say, domination, became the major supplier of fossil fuels to Poland. And I stop here and will hand over to Marcin Dusiło. Marcin, the floor is yours.
Marcin, you are muted. You are muted, so you have to unmute yourself.
Excuse me.
And just let me say one word. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I still just want to remind our guests that there is that possibility to ask the question. Thank you for those questions we have at this moment, and of course we will looking forward to the next one. And Marcin, now the floor is actually yours.
Good. Thank you very much for handing over. So. Right now, maybe a bit more detailed look on other, critical and just interesting topics regarding our energy transition. So one of the first things that I would like to mention is that despite ongoing electrification that I will show on the next slide, the electricity consumption is declining. And it has been like this for 2 years. The electricity consumption in Poland revolves around 170, in past years 100, almost 80 terawatt hours. So it's quite a big consumer when it comes to electricity in Europe. And the biggest sector, as Joanna already said, because of the industry is so big and so important in Poland, is of course industry. It's consumed around 38%, around 70 terawatt hours of electricity, and this is one thing that's interesting. The other thing is we are a very coal intensive country when it comes to both generally energy consumption, but also electricity production. And coal power plants and CHPs, they use a lot of electricity just to power themselves up to be able to produce electricity. So power plants in Poland consume 9% of electricity, which means when we have less and less coal within our system, we have, let's say, more and more space for let's say not free, but usable electricity that we can use to electrify sectors. Talking about electrification, here are a couple of charts that I would like to show you. So Let's start on the right side, where you can see how much heat pumps are installed in Poland. So we are now approaching more or less 700,000. And as you can see, the increase is clearly visible. But last year, so in 2023, the number of heat pumps wasn't that big as it was in 2022. In 2022, new installations were over 200,000 in 1 year. Last year, around 120, still a lot, but things have slowed down a bit. Now we'll see how the situation is going to be in 2024. Then going to the middle, with the big, we see the climate is changing. In Poland, the temperatures are rising quite fast, and the households that used to be okay, let's say, during the summer, are getting more and more warm, and people just need air conditioning to be able to withstand those temperatures. So we see that because of the rising temperatures, the demand for air conditioning is going to rise, and the air conditioned space of household is also rising. As you can see, we are approaching 2% of households that have air conditioning, and in 2012 it was somewhere around 0.5%. So we can see the increase, and of course it is going to have an effect on electricity system. And then the last one on the left, transport. So the world has set its direction to electrify transport. And so we can see in Poland this trend is also visible. The number of new electric vehicles is the 37,000 during last year, and the total amount is around 100,000. A very big topic in Poland is also prosumers, because part of the this, maybe not a success story, but still a story of energy transition is prosumer installations. So 10 years ago we had no photovoltaics in Poland, and especially no on the rooftops. Right now in 2020, 2023, the capacity of installed prosumer installations is north of 11 gigawatts. And that means that we have a lot of new sources that are distributed around Poland that produce and decrease the amount of electricity that has to be produced by coal-fired plants. And that this is the capacity, but what about the electricity production? So we can divide it into two pieces, because a part of the production that happens in prosumer installation, so just basically at homes, doesn't even enter to the grid, and around 1.4% of the total consumption in Poland didn't even have to be transmitted through the grids, because it was consumed locally before even entering the common system. Of course, the auto consumption is just a part of the story. The other part is just the prosumers produce more than they need. So the other part is fed to the grid, and that's around 4% of the total electricity produced in Poland. So as you can see, those distributed, developed only for 10 years, and as you can see, dynamically only for a couple of years, like 4 or 5, already is visible very clearly on the energy transition horizon in Poland. Of course, it comes with a cost. So dynamic development of renewables that are uncontrollable. I mean, you can either turn them on or turn them off, and that's basically how you can control. So those variable renewables, they have to cooperate with other parts of the system that is, as Joanna said, very old. So coal power plants, as you've seen in previous slides, is still like the majority of production in Poland, so 60%. That means that we have a lot of old 50 years old power plants that are not designed to just cooperate with renewables. That means there is because of this problem with elasticity within the system, the operator is sometimes, and it happens more and more frequently, is forced to shut down the renewable generation just to withstand the ability of the system to operate normally and be controllable. And in 2023, this amount was roughly the same as the consumption of 30,000 households, so 74 gigawatt hours that was curtailed and just shut off by the operator. But it's not visible on the, it's not visible here, but it's not visible here, but you can see when it comes to the what's happening in the 2024, it means we have a lot of more curtailment that is going on, and up to date in 2024, the curtailed electricity is able to power 530,000 households. Going to the emission part. So Poland is the third most carbon intensive economy in the world. Last year we were on the 7th place. Other countries are decarbonizing faster. For example, China. They have surpassed us when it comes to carbon intensity of the economy. And right now we are third after Kazakhstan and South Africa. And France's emissions will soon be lower than Polish, despite having 4 times larger economy, which is quite a symbolic thing. And to the just to wrapping things up, the first part is fuels. So we stopped importing fuels from Russia. It's maybe then a little bit more complicated story than we just cut off. But we almost do not import fuels anymore. When it comes to hard coal, Russia was supplying around 9% of hard coal in 2013. Right now it's 0. When it comes to natural gas, Russia was 33%. Right now it's 0%. In 2014, Russia was the supplier of 88% of the crude oil that was used in Poland. Right now it's 4.5%. By right now, I mean 2023. So that is a part of the story. The other part of the story is that we just import more. We just use more. As you can see, both in crude oil and in natural gas, the total amount has increased. So one part of the story is, yes, we partly diversified. The other thing, we import more and more. And in 2023, we had to import 43% of our energy that we used to consume, which is 15 percentage points more than it was in 10 years ago. So that's a significant increase. Then, just looking from the very, very big picture, we are, as a country, we are developing very fast. When it comes to European Union, only 2 countries are developing faster when it comes to GDP increase, and we have doubled since since we entered the European Union in 2004. And meanwhile, the greenhouse gas emissions have decreased, but not that much. I mean, comparing to other countries, this decrease, okay, it is, but it's not significant. Fuels. We decreased sharply the amount of consumed coal, but on the other hand, increased very significantly crude oil consumption by around 50% and natural gas by 30%. Other types of electricity, let's say, energy. So electricity consumption increased by 18%, more or less. Overall energy consumption has increased by, which is you can see when it's visible on the last slide. When you compare the energy consumption and the greenhouse gas emissions, the energy consumption has increased, the greenhouse gas emissions has decreased. So as you can see, the intensity of energy consumption has decreased, but this decrease is way lower than of other countries. And by that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, for being here. And if you have free time and want to look at interactive charts, here's the link to more of them. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for presentation, Marcin, and for exploration that data you have collected. And I'm not sure if you can see the Q&As. If you click the icon of Q&A, you will see we have few questions. Some of them is about the policy. Marcin, you are still sharing your screen. So just thanks. Thank you. And some of that question are about the policy and new government, and some of them is more technical. So maybe we'll start about that first one, about how the new government is looking looking for the energy transition. This is one of the first questions from our chat. So maybe Joanna, this is the question for you. So how about the new government? Like, this is the 6 months of that government right now, and the pace of the energy transition in terms of the new government.
Yes, this is very good question, very relevant one. There was a major change in Poland in October, where a new government was elected. The previous conservative government, after 8 years, was basically has changed. And the new government, new coalition, so it's very complicated now because new government consists of many smaller parties, big 4 coalition partners. Has announced that the energy transition will be much faster, which will be much more decisive. Actually, there was a coalition agreement which was signed by all the parties just before government was formed, and I think the 8 point of this coalition agreement out of 23, I think all of them was energy transition and climate crisis. Unfortunately, I know that basically taking over new ministries is a quite complicated process. We miss a bit clear track of how it could be done, and this is a bit disappointing. However, what we await now within the 2-3 weeks is new energy and climate plans. Ministry of Climate is preparing new energy policy, new energy and climate NECPs. And what we have heard, that it will be new opening for the energy sector. Of course, you know, last weeks or months were quite heavy in terms of elections, EU elections. So there was a big fight against the right-wing populism everywhere in Europe, in Poland too. So I think this level of the discussion was this was the reason why there was no clear actually signal from the government that the energy transition should just progress. The challenge is that we need indication for new investments now, and what we expect from government, like encouragement for new investments, because of course we will never phase out coal if there will be not enough new capacities which can replace old capacities. So this is now what is very needed: renewables, permitting, grids, and new investment in conventional power plants, flexible power plants, who could work in line with intermittent renewables. But maybe because I see also the next question on the reskilling, which is a good one. And I also think that this is a bit missing, like exactly because energy transition is not only about investments, it's about having skilled workforces who can really basically technically solve the challenges. And what is now actually working in Poland is on the level of regions, because we have coal regions in transition. There are just transition funds which has been awarded to Poland 2 years ago. And some of the regions like Konin, but also Bełchatów, also Silesia, they run some reskilling programs within those regional programs. Like clear indication of the government, let's motivate people to now really, we need more technicians, we need more engineers, we need more people who are experts for grids and installation of heat pumps and renewables. This is something what a bit is missing from this government level.
Thank you, Joanna. And maybe the next one, Marcin, I believe this is the question for you about the electricity import, and when it terms to the costs of electricity, when the Poland imports energy, if there is the cheaper, for example, from the gas. This is one of the theories question.
Yes. So I see this question, and this is what, as you can see, as you was able to see in 2022, the Poland became net exporter of electricity, and that is purely motivated by the difference in costs. So other European countries, most of them, most of our neighbors, they set the price for the electricity market was set by gas power plants. And because gas cost 4 times more than it used to previously, the marginal cost for gas power plants was very high, which made electricity in other markets very high. We don't really have that much of gas power plants in Poland. In fact, we have only CHPs. Powered by gas. That means the high prices for gas weren't that visible on our electricity market because mostly we have coal that wasn't that expensive. Of course, electricity was more expensive in 2022 in Poland than it was in 2021, but the increase wasn't that big compared to other countries, which made Poland, that is normally a more expensive country, and right now it is still, as you can see, Poland returned in 2023 to the role of importer because we have right now more expensive electricity, and in 2022 we had cheaper, because that is the only positive thing about having coal, that during this one single year we had very expensive electricity, but not that much as much as other countries. So that's why the energy flows were so correlated with the prices, and we could see it on the balance, import-export balance for electricity.
Maybe I jump into some, because I see some questions which maybe I can answer regarding hybrid RES. I think what has now changed recently, there are changes made already by the previous government in how renewables are connected to the grid in order to release space for new renewables to enter the grid, because it became already last year, 2 years ago, an issue that many of renewables could be built once there would be better management of grid. And now there is a regulation which shows that you can basically combine photovoltaics with onshore wind, and then it's easier to get connection to the grid. Like administrative decision to connect to the grid. This is one thing. And another thing is, of course, the changes to the electricity markets, which award hybrid renewables. So because the market is becoming, even if the price is freezing and generally the market last year due to COVID, but also energy crisis was a bit destroyed, there is new balancing market entering, which actually but also some changes in the auctioning scheme, which motivate to work on hybrid renewables. So this is something what is coming. So there are projects in the pipeline. So answering your question, there is also another question which relates to energy sufficiency, and I think it's a bit abstract topic, but maybe like what does it mean sufficiency in terms of price and also technical availability of power system. In fact, we have quite advanced DSR regulation, which I think is quite unique, by the way, because it was one of our key topics which Forum assisted since the beginnings, since 2015, where Poland faced brownouts due to challenges to balance the summer peak. And this is the sufficiency, like not only focusing on generation, but also on other aspects like flexibility and price came through the DSR. But I also agree with you that it will be interesting to look a bit deeper what sufficiency can mean and what does it mean sufficient. And actually, I think there is one question from Jadwiga. So what are the key risks? I think that the key risk is now polarization, is level of disinformation, and social acceptance for the changes. So this is the mixture, because of course there is such a resistance due to different arguments, because one of them it's electricity price, but then is also I mean the market will change a lot. Also, financial flows will change. So we should the gas, oil companies will not make benefits with fossil fuels in future as much as it was in the past. So it is also a lot of disinformation, a lot of anxiety and different narratives. So what I'm a bit afraid that also this green narrative, which was dominant for the last years, will change. And then the question, what will replace that narrative? Because narrative is one thing, but in our view, energy transition is not only driven by colors discussion about color. So green transition is not only about colors, it's about actually energy security, it's about modernization of the power system, it's about fair distribution of cost and electricity prices. So about social acceptance, and I'm a bit worried that in the European Union everything became so complex and needs to be consulted with everybody, that also like being enough agile to really adjust to the situation, like this electricity market discussion was a bit frustrating on the EU level, where changes were finally not made because it was just too hard to agree on what the solution might be, because there are many beneficiaries. Topic is also many incumbent companies who already benefit from this market structure, and very technical topic where it's hard to judge what the impact will be on the electricity, on the power system consumers. So everybody afraid to make brave decision, even if everybody knows that they are needed. So it's a bit the challenge, I think. And I don't know if, Alexandra, are there all questions which has been answered?
I'm not sure. No, there's still new questions on the chat, so we have to refresh that icon.
Okay.
And there's, for example, one of the heat pump and increasing the sales of the heat pump in Poland. So maybe this is the good one question, because this is connected to the government support and government politics. So maybe this is the good topic to to put that option. So maybe this one's. And
Yes,
the second one, I think this is what to be answered, is about the place. Is there any place, or there is not the place for the nuclear power in Poland?
Okay, so maybe I can quickly go through the questions. So heat pump sales in 2022 was the record. Actually, the increase was the biggest in the world. So it was very much anti-Putin movement in Poland. So many people took really emotional decisions. Also, it was support schemes of the government who supported this kind of decision. So we had more than 200,000 devices sold. Actually, the similar number to Germany, which is a very big country. So and has very aware, by the way, heat pump policy, or had or. So it was very interesting. Now, unfortunately, the number of heat pump sales is declining. It's still quite big, but it's at the level, I think, 140,000. It's basically, but it's not that old houses are installing heat pumps, but mainly new houses and energy efficient buildings, because the energy support for energy efficiency in building in Poland, in my view, is quite poor and not well organized. Also in the context, exactly to your question about skilled workforce, really skilled advice, wise advice, what you need to do in your house so you will lower your bill and you will improve energy efficiency. So there is a lot what needs to be done. And maybe the question about...
Maybe I can cut in.
Yes,
only
yes.
one additional factor driving this 2022 record high sales. So it was very visible in press and in the media, the gas prices increase. And because it used to be like this, that the households in Poland are mainly heated, or used to be mainly heated by coal, and people, when they switched to other fuel, they switched to gas, and there is a very strong push from the regulatory side to change this coal heating to other type of heating. And when people were was seen everywhere that gas prices increase, gas prices very high and so on, they said, okay, maybe these gas prices are so high and will be that high, but it's a good time to install a heat pump. And I see this decrease in 2024 partly because of gas prices are not that high as they used to be. But that's only a part of the story as a supplement.
Yeah, and maybe before we finish, just that one question about the nuclear power plant potentially in Poland. Joanna, I believe for you.
Yes, I basically, nuclear, of course, has its place in Poland. The challenge is only, like, if we would have nuclear energy, we would be completely in a different situation compared to what is now. The challenge is only, that the reason or the argument that we need nuclear energy is not linked with capabilities of technology providers to do it on time within some period of time. So this is a bit a challenge. So basically our energy system challenges are placed in much shorter perspective, like within the next 5-10 years. It is the hottest period of time, and the challenges basically what nuclear, how this project of nuclear power plant can really be placed in this discussion. It's not that it is big investment process now, which is, I mean, there are decisions, there are processes on location, which was actually decided, location of the power plant was decided. There is still no financing scheme decision. It should be contract for difference probably, but how much it would cost and more details should be known, I think, for the next year. 2025. So, you know, many fundamental decisions are needed, and our power system requires new investments now and here and now. And maybe one reply to this question of Sophia on curtailment risk, how is it mitigated? Indeed, there is no systematic approach to this topic. So it's Marcin investigates. You can actually you said it already on curtailment. So the problem is just like increasing dramatically year to year. So now everybody is scratching its head what to do with this. What we are working is basically to support sector coupling, and heating system is the low-hanging fruit. In Poland, we have huge potential on the district heating system side, and there are some investments which could be done on the heating sector level, which would and these are really not huge costs, but nobody have thought about this in the past. So such kind of like heat accumulator or I don't know the name in English, but those electrodes, kotły elektrodowe, could actually consume the electricity once there is once there is oversupply. And this is something what is part of the discussion. Now it's that it's a bit gray zone. So once the transmission system operator needs to curtail electricity, then there is once there is oversupply. And this is something what is part of the discussion. Now it's that it's a bit gray zone. So once the transmission system operator needs to curtail electricity, then there is a dispute between generators and TSO on how to on remuneration. And I think it is so we don't know the details, but something is happening. But I also think that creating a just like clear scheme where you could actually price it would be already something. What has happened with the short-term markets in recent weeks or months is basically that we now also experience minus prices. So it is also motivating and a bit pricing the value of electricity in the short period of time. So it's already something, but nevertheless, it's not enough in our view.
Thank you so much. Feel free, Joanna.
There is one more last question very quickly. Jakub asked how confident we can be about import of coal, oil and gas from Russia being really to zero. Our challenge is that we still import some LPG from Russia. So this is something what we track carefully. On oil and gas, I think we can be, I mean, it's LNG, which is LPG, sorry, which is a challenge. On LNG, once it comes to Poland, we can be sure. So we know where the ships are coming from, and we know where the pipes are coming from. On coal, you can be probably not 100% sure, but nevertheless, we use a set official number. So once there is some manipulation of data, we cannot 100% be sure, but we really hope that somebody is, and I think a lot of eyes are now directed to the Russian fossil fuels. So it's not that easy to cheat. So yes, thank you very much for your presence and being with us.
Yeah, I believe we should wrap up. So just let me say that to our guests that you can explore our website. There is so many tools and data, like monthly magazine, like the interactive charts in monthly and that yearbook. So just feel free to explore our website. You have the links on the chat. So this is for you. You can add your email address to our newsletter also. So. And of course, feel free to contact with us if you have any question. We will try to answer that questions. The email addresses are on our website too. So just explore Forum Energii website. This is the best way to know the content about electricity and not only just energy sector in Poland. So thank you for your presence today and for being with us. Of course, the record of the webinar will be shortly in our website, as well as presentations. So see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.